If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
And welcome back to the K-Files. Welcome to the K-Files, let's put it that way. Here with Linda Kay from the Wilson Times, a reporter with the Wilson Times and Spring Hope Enterprise. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you doing?
Good. We've got an interesting agenda today. Have a guest, Lieutenant Mark Seighman in the house. We'll be talking about a case with him. And I believe first you're going to talk about Orlando Flowers, which you started talking about last week.
That's right. Just to let people know, though, off the top, that Angela Height, who was supposed to be here in our third segment to talk about victims' rights,
right?
She had something personal come up. She told me late last night that she couldn't be here. She will be here again.
Yeah, we'll get her back.
But for all the Angela Height fans out there, sorry about that. Yes, Orlando Flowers. We talked about it last week. We just kind of did a little introduction on it. Right. I wanted to do a few more details today. So, Orlando Flowers, 45 years old, right? Born and raised in Rocky Mount. There's a Facebook image I got from his Facebook page, which is sort of tragically still active. There's Orlando. He is the father of 3 sons and 3 daughters. Right.
Wow.
His obituary says that he left behind a host of other loving relatives and friends, which is true, because I have I still have the interview notes from when I talked to his sister, and his sister. This is exactly what his sister told me. One of his sisters. He has 2 sisters, right? His sister Robin told me that my brother was. Well, no, we don't want to get into that. Okay, he was an all-out guy. He was always smiling. He was real caring and polite. right? And what we talked about last week, he was no angel in his younger days.
Right,
but,
right,
you know,
right.
as
But
he got older, right?
Yes, he had straightened his life up.
Right. And so she said, I will always love my brother and I'll miss him so much. Right? Okay. So on his Facebook page, if you'll put that shot up there, I wanted folks to read for themselves. He was graduated from Rocky Mount High School. He worked at Cummins Engine Plant. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. And his relationship status on his Facebook page there is single. That's going to come into, it's going to be really important next week and the week after as we begin to talk about, you know, what happened to Orlando. But okay, so I wanted to go to that night that Orlando died, and I, like I said last week, that was February 5th, 2017, Super Bowl 51. Now I don't know absolutely nothing about sports, so you know, folks are gonna have to bear with me on this, but I know that it was important that night because that was the first overtime in Super Bowl history. And it also kind of plays into Orlando's death because, okay, so it was the Patriots versus the Falcons. It was New England was way behind at halftime. Lady Gaga sang some songs, right? So they come back from halftime. The Patriots just really kill them in the fourth quarter, go into overtime, win the game. Okay, so Orlando was watching the game at a friend's house on Arlington Street, right?
Okay.
So the game went a lot longer than it was supposed to.
Okay.
So the folks that killed him sat outside waiting a lot longer than they probably planned to.
So you said folks, plural.
Right, and we'll get into that too. You're right.
Okay.
You're always listening, Sandra.
Yes, I am.
You know, all that time and wait, you know, like I said last week, that line and wait, I mean, that's a capital offense. That's a factor that'll get you into capital punishment area, right? So a little bit after 10:30 p.m., the shot spotter goes off, and police found Orlando sitting in the driver's seat of his car. He'd been shot up really bad, and the one that killed him was he had a shot right through the heart. You know, again, to go along with the single thing, you know, it all kind of begins to play into effect. So he was taken to Nash UNC Healthcare, and he died from multiple gunshot wounds to the chest, including that one in his heart. Okay, so the thing that I'm going to wait to get into next week, I just really wanted to lay all this out, get people knowing what was going on. Super Bowl Sunday, the guy's having a good time. He's beloved by his family. The game's over, he walks outside, he gets shot several times, including once in the heart. What we'll get into next week is that someone tried to kill him 3 times in the weeks leading up to this, right? So this is the 4th attempt on Orlando's life in like 6 weeks. So
wow. Yeah,
so they finally got it. You know, they finally got it right. It took them 4 times, and they finally did that. And we're going to go over each one of those next week and see how crazy a man's life can get over. We talked about last week how crazy a man's life can get over a girl, or I guess a woman in this situation.
Right.
And how Orlando was just really living kind of on borrowed time, you know. I mean, I hate to put it like that, but somebody was out to get him, and they did get him. And that is, I'm turning my phone off, folks.
But this, okay, so it was over his girlfriend.
Right. Well, I mean, it was. It was. Well, no. The cops know. They always know. You know. I mean, we've talked about this before. That in most of these cases, it's not really a mystery. The cops have the suspect.
They know.
They have a suspect. They know who did it.
Well,
it's just a matter of gathering the evidence together.
You've got to have,
right,
when you go to court, you've got, and you know.
And before they even get to court.
Criticize the police and say, you know, what are they doing?
Right.
Well, listen, they know more than you think they know.
They always do.
But they've got to seal it. They've got to seal the deal. They've got to, yes.
They always know more than me. and that's the frustrating part.
That don't
because-
take much.
No, okay, come on. Now, so I've been good to you today, but now we're.
I'm in a lot of
What are you
trouble.
laughing at, Fred? Now, so when family gets frustrated sometimes, when the public, they get frustrated because they perceive that nothing's happening, but
Yes.
there's always something going on behind the scenes. I've been doing this for more than 16 years,
Right.
and I've never seen a case that somebody wasn't working on it on some level.
Right.
So that's what this show is really about, is to give the public the opportunity to provide that one piece of information that the cops
Yes.
need, so that they can put their case over the top, because they have to present that case to the district attorney's office, and the district attorney's
That's
office.
exactly right.
They got to feel comfortable that they can win in court
Yes,
with it. So,
absolutely.
every little thing helps, and that's why I go into details with a lot of these, because folks think that, there's either they think that there's no hope, so they don't
Right.
bother telling the cops what they know, or they think that no one else cares.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to instill into the public to let them know that there is hope in these cases, and that
Right.
people do care. And what the public needs to do is come forward, provide the information, make a couple extra dollars along the way.
Well, somebody knows something about every case.
Right.
And you could be the one to seal the deal for this case,
And-
Orlando Flowers.
And make some money as
And
well.
make some money, yes. And you see the number right there on the screen, 406-6736. And it is anonymous, folks. It is anonymous. You do not have to say who you are. You will just call in the tip, and this is fighting crime, and they will pass the information on to the police department or
Right.
the proper authorities.
Right. And, like I promised on the first show, one thing that I wanted to do was kind of let people know how my process works.
Right.
So we're going to talk about Orlando's autopsy a little bit next week, but
You
we're
always
gonna-
keep us hanging.
Well, I mean, I want people
wanna know.
I want people to tune in, because the cases that we talk about after this one later today, I want
Yes.
people to call in. So not only are we going to talk about Orlando's autopsy, we're also going to talk about a couple search warrants that I got a hold of.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was how search warrants are. When the police serve a search warrant, and it leads to an arrest, it becomes part of the arrest warrant filed down at the courthouse.
Right.
When the police serves a search warrant and it doesn't lead to an arrest, it becomes part of a group of search warrants that are just kept down there. I think they have to keep them for 5 years, right? So they're just sitting there for 5 years. Well, I mean, they're public record, right? So I go down there and routinely go through them. Every new jurisdiction that I go to, I have to convince the clerk of court of what the laws are, the state laws about this, so that's always a fun challenge. But eventually, public records law wins out, and I get to go through these search warrants. So I was very pleasantly surprised one day to come across some search warrants for the Orlando Flowers case. And in these search warrants, the law enforcement has to attach an affidavit that explains why they want to search what they want to search. And in that affidavit, that is pretty much the entrails of the case. I mean, it's everything in that case that the police suspect to get them to that search warrant. And they become really important for the public. Like the Seven Bridges Road case that we'll
We are
talk
going to talk
about a lot.
about that. I get a
There was
lot of calls about that. Yes, we are going to.
In that case,
address that.
in that case, the search warrants were sealed here in Nash and Edgecombe counties, but then there was a body that was found in Halifax County, and they weren't up on the procedure. They weren't sealing their records because they probably didn't realize how important that was
Right.
going to be, and so that search warrant was obtained by some reporters. I was not here at the time. I was down in Wilmington. They were obtained by some reporters and really led to a lot of breakthroughs as far as the public goes in that case. Because, we're always dealing with two things. We're dealing with what law enforcement does, and then we're dealing with the story that the public knows. And so that's what I always say, there's detectives are trying to solve a case, and I'm trying to tell a story. Sometimes they go hand in hand. So that's what this show is all about, is to tell stories that help the public realize that they need to call law enforcement and get something done.
Yes.
So I don't know, have I talked through segment one
You
yet?
have done very good. We'll go ahead.
I'm terrible with time, folks.
Well, that's okay. That's what I'm here for.
6 weeks into this thing, and I can't. There's a clock right there that says
It doesn't help you, Lynn.
it doesn't help. You're right.
So anyway, we'll be right back right after this with Lieutenant Seighman from the Rocky Mount Police
Who
Department.
knows a whole lot more than me.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
And welcome back. And we have, as we said, we have Lieutenant Seighman with us this morning.
I told you he was going to mess it up.
Lieutenant Seighman's with us this morning.
His first name is
Good morning.
Lieutenant.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well, thank you.
So glad to have you here this morning.
So glad to be here.
And you're going to talk to us about a specific case that Linda.
I'm going to tee it up, and he's going to take over.
Yes, you go right ahead.
September 2017, a police officer was on patrol. He hears some gunfire. He goes to where he thinks he hears it. He finds an injured man on the 800 block of Walnut Street. How am I doing so far? Is that good?
You're on there.
Okay. Keenan Mercer he's 21 years old. He ends up dying at the hospital. So
Correct.
we're going to let the lieutenant explain to the public. They got some really good pictures, folks. I mean, they've done us a big favor here. So.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lieutenant Seighman, and I am assigned to the Investigative Division of Rocky Mount Police Department. And one of my duties and responsibilities is the cold case unit. And I was asked to come here and speak about this particular case this week, and the case of Keenan Mercer, who was tragically killed September 15th, 2017 on Walnut Street in Rocky Mount. 21-year-old Keenan was cutting grass that morning, and he went to the gas station to get some gas. He was getting ready to start a new job and was trying to make some extra money to buy some pants to go to work, and he rode his bike with his gas can to the Kangaroo Mart on West Raleigh Boulevard, and bought a little gas, and then began pedaling back towards his residence on Hammond Street. He turned on West Haven, then turned on Walnut Street, and as he approached the intersection of Pine Street, he was confronted by a black male that came from between the houses off Walnut Street, and an argument was heard, and then multiple shots were fired, and unfortunately Keenan was struck several times and collapsed in the yard of 848 South Pine Street. Officer was on scene quickly and attempted first aid, but unfortunately Keenan succumbed to his wounds later.
Right.
The department determined that he had been, we realized he had been shot once before in our quest for suspects, and it turns out that the person who had committed that crime was in jail at the time of this crime, so he's not a suspect in this crime. And so we're looking for assistance from the public. Any help that you guys can give is necessary. We got to solve this case. So if you guys can come up with some information, just even a small tip, something that you might not think is important, could be the actual one piece of information that breaks the case. So we're asking that anybody that has any information.
That was the bicycle.
That was the bicycle. This is the clothing, his phone in the yard there.
And if we can put up, Lee, the text-to-tip, that would be nice. Now explain that. Lieutenant.
Text-to-tip is a service that we've been using for quite some time now. You can actually text us anonymously. And this information is not housed in the United States, it's actually housed in Canada, so there is no way a records request is going to get this information, so it is completely anonymous. You will text the number is 274-637, and you text the word RMPOL, and then your message, and it arrives at several cell phones and computers at the police department, and depending on what nature the crime is as to who follows up on it. If you text in drug information, then it goes to the drug unit. If you text in this case information or any other cold case information, it would come to the homicide unit. And the cold case investigator specifically would be tasked with following up on those leads. So again, it's 274-637, and you text RMPOL plus your message, and we will get that information and act on it, and hopefully we can solve this case. You can also call the non-emergency number of the police department, 972-1411, and speak to a dispatcher. You can call the detective division at 972-1450 and speak to an investigator. We also have the Fighting Crime Facebook page, and you guys have the hotline set up for us.
Yes.
So there's multiple ways to get in touch with us, and it can be completely anonymous. We want your information, not your name. So please, if you have any information in this case, contact us and let us know.
And as the lieutenant said, it is anonymous, and they do make it easy. It is easy for you to call because there's a number of ways that you can contact.
Lieutenant, can we go back through that one more time?
Okay.
Just you said he was cutting grass.
Yep.
And I mean, it's fast. These are some fascinating details that I don't think have been public before. That's why I want to just kind of slow down through them and go. He was cutting grass. He went to go get some gas, and then you said that he was going to go buy clothes, or I missed. Well,
according to his mom, he had just gotten a job and was trying to save up some money or earn some money so that he could buy some pants to go to his new job.
Okay.
So he had run out of gas, apparently, was going to the gas station to get gas, and on his way back, in that fateful encounter.
Okay, and so you said a man came up through the houses?
Between the houses on Walnut Street, is what witnesses advised.
Okay, and then they had an argument. And
Arguing was heard by a witness, and then the shots were fired.
okay. And then that was, you said he died in the hospital, right? Or the officer tried to?
The officer did do life-saving at the scene, but it was not successful. So.
Okay. Wow, I appreciate very much you sharing that information with us. That was, how about that? The guy goes to get some gas at on his bicycle. And,
yeah.
wow.
I mean, trying to do good because he had gotten a job. Think about it.
Right.
He had gotten a job, and he wanted to look nice on his job, apparently. So he was going to buy clothes. And apparently, I would think in my mind, I always have to do the thing where
Disclosure.
Yeah, but in my mind, yes, it was somebody that knew him.
This was a targeted assault, we believe, that
Yeah,
his
okay,
assailant
that's
he worked
kind of
for.
what I was getting at. I
It
kinda
wasn't a
wanted you to
random
say
crime.
that.
No,
And
it's
you said that he had been in a situation before, but that the person in that altercation was locked up at the time.
Correct.
This happened, so that was not
Correct.
that person.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, we appreciate this. Please, as we said, we've given you various numbers, the text-to-tip. Can you put that up one more time, Lee, the text-to-tip slide? Takes a minute to get to that. Okay, there we go, right there. Please don't hesitate, people. We need to solve this case. The Rocky Mount Police Department is working very hard to solve this case. and you could help, because there's somebody out there that knows something about this case, about every case. Isn't that right, Lieutenant?
Literally every case has somebody that knows something
Yeah,
about it. Whether they learned it at the time or they learned it later,
Yeah.
any information can help.
And even, people hesitate, they're a witness to something, or they see something, they hear something, and they say, I don't want to get involved. Well, this is anonymous. You don't have to say who you are. Nobody will know who you are. So any little, and you know what? No tip is too small.
Correct.
Even something that you might think is so minute, oh, that's not going to help. That's not
Could be
going to
the
help.
one thing that we need.
It could be the one piece, the missing piece to the puzzle. So please don't hesitate. Okay, Lieutenant, we appreciate you being on this morning.
Thank you for having me
Hope to
on.
have you back to talk about another case, and maybe you'll solve that case and come back and we'll talk about it.
That would be great.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, we'll
Thank
be
you.
right back.
Thank you.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
Okay, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that information. And Lyndall said, hey, they were willing to put out a little bit of extra information on this guy this
Right.
morning.
A lot of that I had never heard before.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
great.
always great. We appreciate the Rocky Mount Police Department participating with us, along with the Nash and Edgecombe County Sheriff's Departments, and we hope to get Wilson involved. We have a board of directors now.
Right. And 2 lawyers to make sure that we're doing everything right.
And 2 lawyers. No, I'm kidding.
What did Shakespeare say about 2 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I really am blown away by the general's leadership, and then by
Yes.
the willingness of so many people to take part in this.
Yes.
And
Well, it's all for, who doesn't want to solve a crime?
right.
I mean, it's all for good. And that's the reason.
Criminals probably.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there
Criminals
is
probably
one
not
person
keen.
out there, or there are people out there that do not want to solve crime.
Actually, when I was involved in Crime Stoppers down in Wilmington and Jacksonville area, the people who called in the most were criminals, because they were mostly it
Wow.
was drug dealers eliminating the competition.
Wow.
And so that's why I wanted this to be different than that. I didn't want us
Right.
to be chasing down every single guy, selling weed on the street corner
That's
or whatever.
right.
I mean, I wanted us to concentrate on missing people and unsolved murders, and I think it's gonna pay off. I mean, with cooperation like that from the cops, I mean, you can't go wrong. Eventually, I mean,
Yes.
all that information in the Mercer case, quite a bit of that was new information, and it's really good to get that. Just like when Robert Tender was on here from the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office, talking about that case.
Right.
So it's just more information out there. Is the public. I've seen it over and over where the public somebody doesn't want to come forward because they think that the cops doesn't know anything.
Right.
So when they figure out, just like in that case, the guy comes between the houses and gets in an argument with Mr. Mercer.
Right.
So somebody knows who that is.
That's right.
And actually, the cops might even know who it is. I mean, we talked about that in the first segment.
Yeah.
They're just looking for that evidence.
That's
so,
right.
So someone's out there in TV land and they realize that, hey, the cops do know.
Yes.
So then it's time to
Well,
make a phone call.
There's nothing more disheartening to the police or the sheriff or whoever to spend all this time on these cases. They spend a lot of time documenting and going out and looking, and investigating these crimes. To have it just get let go in court on a technicality.
Right.
Wow. I mean, there's nothing that they hate any worse, I'm sure. So, they've got to seal the deal.
Yeah, they gotta do
They've
that.
got to make sure
Right.
that it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that
and-
they feel like they've got it.
You're right, and the DA's office is going to be worried about double jeopardy.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to try a case that they're not convinced they can win and then have a chance where the guy walks free. So
Right.
there's a lot of moving parts inside
That's
the criminal
exactly
justice
right.
system.
It is.
And it, it is good to see though, since the show, I think is this week number 5 or 6?
I think this is 5.
Okay, I used to like list it, like show week 1, week 2. We're in the point now where but so far we've had the Nash County Sheriff's Office talk about the Travis Lynch case. Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office come on talk about the Steve McGray case. The Rocky Mount Police Department was just here talking about the Keenan Mercer case. We've had tremendous cooperation with all those folks. A member of each of those 3 agencies will be on the board and will help us along the way with what we need, right?
Right. That's right.
I think this is something unique. I spoke to a law enforcement officer that I know the other day, and he was excited about it because he said that this is a chance for the public
That's right.
to pitch in.
You're
and
a
do-
partner, people.
Right,
You really are. And there is reward money.
right.
I mean, there is reward money.
Big money.
And that's the reason we
There are
developed the board, was
major-
to funnel the money through, and so we could decide
major cities.
on
Major
how
cities
much.
aren't offering this much, right?
Wow.
I mean, I did some research. I mean, major cities aren't offering this much. Now, you don't want to offer too much.
Right.
Because if you offer too much, then you just get every
Right.
Tom, Dick, and Harry that's trying to get a payoff. But there's a medium in there somewhere that you have to offer enough money to make it worth someone
Right.
telling what they know. But
That's-
you don't want to offer so much that you get a bunch of junk either.
No.
So I think the board, as we move forward, and the board begins to decide, case by case, how much each case should get, depending on how valuable the tip is, we're going to see that there's going to be some happy folks out there.
And we're not waiting for a conviction 2 to 3 years later
Right,
to give the reward money like a lot of organizations do. It'll be given
after an arrest,
after an arrest.
then the board will have a meeting, and then the money will be out the door.
It depends on how valuable your tip is.
When I
All
was-
tips are valuable.
Absolutely. I was on the Crime Stoppers board for Jacksonville for 5 years. In that 5 years, they saw 19 homicides, and every single one, there was not a homicide solved in the city of Jacksonville, North Carolina, folks, not Florida. I've been there. That was in the Navy. That was a wholly different
Right.
time for me.
Right.
They were probably the cops were probably looking for me while I was there. In Jacksonville, for 5 years, not a single homicide was solved that didn't involve a Crime Stoppers tip. Because it was working, they were paying people. People knew that they could get paid. People knew that the information wasn't going to go to waste.
Right.
So once folks realized how serious we are about this, and how we're going to pay out, and the cops are going to use this information, and things are going to happen, then there'll be a whole lot more calls. It'll be a watershed moment that'll come. I don't know when it'll come. I can't predict that, but at some point, the public's going to realize that hey, I can do the right thing. I can make some money, and I can remain anonymous.
Right.
So those 3 things right there folks, you can do the right thing, you can remain anonymous, and you can make some money.
And we won't know. We will not know if you call who you are. No, it's anonymous. We are not going to, don't think we're going to get back up here on TV and talk about
Right.
tips.
Well,
because
we
we're not.
set that up right
We
away.
may say that we got a tip, but that's it. That's the
Right.
end of it.
I made
We'll
sure-
just be informed that there was a tip. That's all we will be informed of.
I made sure right away that was the first thing out of the gate, is that
Yes.
I did not want to know. And I think that kind of eased law enforcement's mind too, is that,
Yes.
I don't want to be in that, I never want to be between evidence and law enforcement.
Yes,
So, I
no.
wanted out of that
Never.
altogether. And that's where fighting crime comes in, that they can she already has an apparatus in place. You can give the information to her. Your identity state,
Right.
law enforcement will never have it. It won't be a matter of whether law enforcement will use your identity. They won't have your identity.
Right.
So, it's really set up to work.
Yeah.
What
Really
we
is.
need now is the public.
Yes, we have a lot of unsolved cases, folks. How many do we have in Rocky Mount?
Well,
50s?
yeah, I think it's in the 60s, but I want to talk about that for a second too, because
Let's talk
people-
about that when we get back.
Okay, good. I want to talk about that when we get back.
Let's go to break, we'll do the weather, come back and we'll talk about that.
What color is my shirt?
Red.
No,
You
I thought it was
copied me
burgundy.
today.
I thought it was burgundy.
Well, it looks burgundy on TV.
Well, I look burgundy on TV. I don't know what's going on. I got a light in my face. I am colorblind. Did you know that?
No, you
Yeah,
didn't tell me
I'm-
that.
I'm
A lot of
colorblind.
men are colorblind. Men more so than women are colorblind.
Yeah, and I'm left-handed too.
You are?
Yeah, that's all my dark secrets, folks.
Wow.
Colorblind,
We
left-handed.
learned a lot about Lyndall this
And I
morning.
got a
It's
big giant cranium.
colorblind. Okay, now we know.
Yes,
And he's left-handed.
and I'm left-handed.
Okay, we'll be right back.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
Welcome back. Lyndall, we're going to talk about homicides a little bit.
Yeah, Kat with Fighting Crime went over and talked to detectives at the police department to kind of figure out, they had a number, she had a number. And I think they finally whittled it down to something, because there were some cases that they had solved that she wasn't aware of. And so I think they whittled it down to around 60, somewhere around there. And, people always, they get on to Rocky Mount for having so many unsolved murders. And I think a little bit of that is unfair, because they're counting murders all the way back to like 1974.
Sure.
And with sheriff's departments, a lot of times when a new administration comes in, they start to ticker with when they took office. So when you look at the two sheriff's offices, their numbers considerably low. And then when you look at the police department, their numbers through the roof. But numbers can mean anything you want them to mean.
Oh, absolutely they can. We know that.
So I think that it is a credit to the police department that they have maintained these homicides. even though there's some cases where I think everybody involved is dead. I wrote about a woman, a missing person that was a Rocky Mount resident, and she went out to Kitty Hawk, and she went missing from there. And I mean, it's obvious homicide, just nobody homicide. And she's dead, the husband's dead, who was the main suspect in the case. Everybody involved in the case is dead.
Right.
So it's like at some point, and I'm talking to them about this, but at some point you kind of have to write off some of these cases. And believe me, I'm not being heartless, folks. I mean, I make a living and a hobby. My living and my hobby is the same thing, and that is writing about unsolved murders.
That's right.
But sometimes it gets to a point where some of these cases have gone to the point that the suspect is dead. Obviously the victim is dead, but anybody else involved in the case is dead.
Right.
So
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Right. And I wanted to, I want to save it for another day when I have the details, but I wrote about a case from the 50s, and it was an extremely fascinating case. I mean, it's really, this woman she leaves her home in Richland, North Carolina, and they find her body at Carolina Beach. And it's an extremely fascinating case. I mean, it really is. I've written about it twice in my career. But the thing is, folks, is everybody involved in this case died in the 80s. So it's fascinating to me that it's still on the record books down in Onslow County when everybody's, So I think there's some cases like that in Rocky Mount.
Well, what is the oldest? Do you know which case is the oldest?
I believe it's a little kid named DeMurray. I wrote about this a while back, and that would be 1974. Poor guy got off on the wrong stop. He was supposed to get off, I believe, in Nashville on the bus stop. It's a really sad case. He was at
Rocky Mount case?
Yeah, he was at like a boys camp out in Tennessee, I think, and they sent him back home on the bus, and he was supposed to get off in Nashville, where his family was waiting, but he got off in Rocky Mount instead, and then they found him a few hours later dead. His pants had been ripped off of him, and he was beat to death and dead. And that's, you take 74, I mean, if a grown man did that to him, chances are, they might be dead. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't care how long it's been. If you killed somebody in the 60s and you're still alive and they can prove it, then you ought to go to jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I don't mind a little bit of capital punishment here and there, but I'm just saying that in these cases where everybody's deceased, it might be time to wrap some of them up.
Absolutely.
But Rocky Mount, I mean, they have, for all of the well-documented situations that I've written about in Rocky Mount, one thing that they've never done is they've never shied away from their homicides. They have, on their own website, they have a list of missing people that they maintain. And in a couple of cases, like the Carl Butler case, the only information about Mr. Butler in existence is the Rocky Mount website. So I mean, nobody, if anybody says that Rocky Mount Police Department doesn't care about the homicide simply because they have a lot of them, then they're being disingenuous. And and I found that out reporting on City Hall last year, that a lot of folks just want to attack City Hall. They don't really care what the facts, never let the facts get in the way of slamming City Hall, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, the police get drug along with that.
That's
and
right.
they've got a police chief now that really cares about this stuff. And so I think folks ought to give them a chance and let see how we do with this show. We might go down in flames. We might never do it. This might be the biggest waste of time in history, or it could work. So I mean, it's kind of like somebody told me the other day about wearing a mask. You wear a mask and you save lives, or it's all a bunch of hooey, but the worst thing you did was that you wore a mask.
That's exactly what I try to tell people all the time.
I know, I was impressed with your coronavirus stance.
Yeah.
Sandra, you probably made every one of your viewers upset, but that's all right.
That's okay. Exactly, okay. Okay.
So we're, let me put my glasses on. We got, what, 4 minutes left?
No.
We're done?
Off at 57.
What?
Yes, we have to play.
I don't understand these things.
Advertiser. We have to play
I
our
don't understand these
sponsorships.
things. I don't understand TV time.
Yeah, it's called sponsorships.
I do understand that.
Yes. So
Right.
we do have to do that, but yeah, I'm glad Lieutenant Seighman came today.
Absolutely.
Next week, who do we have?
Those photos, next week, Rocky Mount Telegram reporter Amelia Harper will be here. She's going to talk about a case. Actually, I got it right here. She's going to talk about the Dequan Dickens case that Tarek Pittman talked about last week. That was the
Yes.
18-year-old that was killed at a birthday party.
Right.
And in that situation, someone came up to the house and shot into the house multiple times and injured some people and killed Daquan, who they called Newt after his uncle, who was also killed earlier. And she's going to talk about that case a little bit. She did a lot of talking with the family and all that when she originally wrote about it last year. And then she's just going to talk about the problem of shooting into an occupied dwelling, how dangerous that is. You know, I mean, it's a much more serious situation than maybe some people think. They, you just shot at the house or whatever. But I mean, if there's people in it's the reason it's a felony, because if there's people in the house, you kill them really easily.
And bullets will penetrate.
Yeah, but glass doesn't do much to stop bullets.
No.
You know, so yeah, she'll be on here next week. We hope. You know,
Yes.
I got I lost my first guest today, and so we scrambled.
That's okay, you got it.
But I'm learning about. I got a double book. When I was on Nancy Grace one time, she double booked me, and then they had me one time, and then they didn't have me the second time. My feelings were all hurt. But I realized what they do is they always the big shows, they always book 2 or 3 people. That way, if one of them bails, they have somebody to back it up. But I got kind of mad at her because I realized that I was always like the third.
Right.
I was the third pitch hitter, in case somebody else didn't show up. So, and you know what I'm really proud of? One time I was supposed to be on the Geraldo show, but my wife wanted to go to Dollar Tree.
Gosh.
My wife wanted to go to Dollar Tree, and I had promised her I'd take her to Dollar Tree, but I was supposed to call on the Geraldo show, right? Now, who do you think won between Michelle and Geraldo Rivera?
So you miss Geraldo?
Yeah, it's just Geraldo, please.
Oh, wow.
But Michelle wanted to go to Dollar Tree. We went to the Dollar Tree. When she wants,
Dollar Tree. Wow.
Michelle asked me how many cats I got one day. Michelle gets what she wants.
Oh my gosh, how many cats?
I said one day. I'm not divulging that today. People think I'm nuts.
Okay. All right, we gotta go.
I'll get some pictures ready. We'll do a segment one time. How many cats does Lindell have?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we'll see you next week on the
Next week.
Files.
More on Orlando Flowers. Y'all don't want to miss that. We got good stuff next week from search warrants.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.